Hey friend, welcome to Coffee Chat with Angie. I'm so glad that you are here. Grab whatever you are drinking today and let's chat. Today, we're talking about meal prepping, and that is different than meal planning. Planning is knowing what's for dinner ahead of time. Prepping is literally everything else. And really, sometimes I think we make it a bigger deal than what it really needs to be. Now, there is nothing wrong with a Sunday prep marathon. I actually have a client who loves to cook, and it brings her so much joy to spend most of the day on Sunday in her kitchen preparing meals for her family, and it works beautifully for her. But that doesn't fit everyone's personality or even certain seasons of your life. So let's talk about some other ways that we can meal prep without it being an entire day. My name is Angie. I'm a personal strategy coach. I support driven working moms to create rock solid systems at home. So dinner isn't a last minute scramble. Kids' logistics are not chaos, and self-care isn't an afterthought. Instead of guilt and exhaustion, you can finally feel present, energized, and in control of the life you are building while also taking time for yourself. If you are joining the live, thank you for being here. If you're catching the replay, I so appreciate you taking time to watch. Let me know you're here. Just say hi in the comments, or today, maybe put in what your favorite go-to meal is. It could be macaroni and cheese with hot dogs. Whatever it is, type it in the comments. Let's learn what we like to enjoy for meals. Okay, so truth be told, I've tried a Sunday meal prep marathon before, and it wasn't for me. It was completely exhausting, and I did it for several months. And honestly, 5 hours in the kitchen for someone who does not love to cook was a lot. And if for some reason I did not have the energy or I was sick, the day that I was going to prep all this, it threw the entire week off. The whole week was a big mess. But I also noticed a couple other things. I would cut up veggies for specific meals, and then they'd get eaten before that actual meal. And I was like, okay, well, that doesn't really benefit me because now I have to go get more veggies. However, I'm like, okay, if veggies are cut up before and washed and left in the fridge, they will get eaten. Good to know. But it didn't support me in planning or prepping that meal, I should say. I also realized that sometimes we didn't eat the meal that I had prepped because life shifted. I just didn't have time to finish making that or whatnot. And then I was left with pre-done portions of the meal that was not easily transferred into something else. So it didn't allow me the flexibility that I wanted to if we needed to kind of pivot meals around. And so that's when I started thinking a little bit about meal prepping and how it could be done different. And so for me, it's just really small strategic decisions that can make weekday dinners less stressful. And honestly, for me, I don't do a ton of meal prep prior to the actual meal, but I am super strong in meal planning. So I absolutely know what we're having. I know that I have time to make it, and I can alter that if I need to. But if you're someone who needs to do a little prep time ahead of time, here are some things that you can consider to make it not a whole marathon and just do some smaller pieces at a time. First of all, pre-deciding meals. Maybe all you need to do. That's where I had sat, and that maybe just all you need. And having the groceries in your house for when you're going to make that meal. That was a game changer for me. Now, if you know that you're having ground beef for a meal twice in the same week, the first day that you're making the ground beef for dinner, go ahead and double that. And then save that second batch in the fridge to use a couple days later. And if life does happen to shift where you're not going to be making that meal, that's something that you can easily pop in the freezer and it can save for the next time you're having a meal with ground beef. Cutting up veggies. If you're cutting up veggies for the meal tonight and you know that you're going to need veggies for the meal tomorrow, just have the cutting board and knife out. Just keep on going and get tomorrow's done right away. You can even cut those while you're waiting for that night's dinner to cook. Think about things even if you're home for lunch and you have a little extra time, maybe even mixing up the seasonings that you'll need for a meal that night, or maybe the seasonings that you'll need for the rest of the week. So say you're having tacos and you make your own taco seasonings, you can put all of that in a container for that meal right away. Or maybe you have a huge container, you just shaker it out. Whatever you want to do that makes it easier, you can prep the spices ahead of time as well. So those are just a couple different ideas. And then for snacks, just to have veggies that are washed in the fridge already, cheese that is cut up that's easy to utilize with cheese and crackers, or whatever it is that you want to just quick have a grab that is healthy to keep you on track for whatever health strategies that you want to implement. So a couple ideas, nothing is extreme, but it's absolutely repeatable. It's something that has a flexibility that a good system has, but something that you can also get into like momentum or a rhythm in doing. What I found that matters most is the better plan is the one you'll repeat. It doesn't necessarily mean it has the most working parts. It doesn't mean it's the most complex. It doesn't even necessarily have to mean it's the simplest, but it's one that you are going to repeat over and over. So if you try something like marathon meal prepping and it doesn't work for you, pull out the parts that do work for you and just pivot. So if making dinners feels stressful right now, maybe just pause and ask yourself a couple of questions. What feels the hardest? Is it deciding what to make that week for dinners? Maybe it's planning is where you need to land. Is it realizing the meat is still frozen when you go to make dinner and you only have an hour to get things ready? And that just throws a wrench in the system and it repeats itself over and over. Maybe you just need some kind of strategy to make sure the meat is out when it needs to be. Or maybe it's all of the chopping and you're like, oh my gosh, I've just spent 30 minutes chopping up vegetables. If I could do that at a different point in time, this meal I could make so much quicker and more frequently as well. It would be a great go-to meal if I didn't have all this chopping. Maybe it's just chopping needs to be placed in a different part of your day. So you don't have to fix everything. Just pick one friction point and make that part easier. You can always build from there. Dinner doesn't have to be this huge overhaul. Sometimes just a couple of shifts make the evening feel a lot lighter. If you have any questions, definitely put them in the comments or reach out and let me know. If you feel like coaching would be something that supports you and you want to dive into some different strategies for your day, whether it's meal prepping or something different, absolutely reach out. I would love to help you. Thank you so much for joining me for Coffee Chat today. I'll see you next time.